do not do monitoring just for the sake of monitoring because we have to. Of course, some of it we do because we have to, but ideally, monitoring has an important supportive role. I think it is a pity to see that in some context, monitoring is just purely bureaucratic. It is about, producing reports. Reports, they disappear into drawers, and they're not really used in the way that they are discussed. Basically, everything we do in monitoring should keep in mind that it has to lead to something. It has to be discussed. Either there has to be a place where decisions are taken using monitoring outputs, or monitoring outputs are used to inform interested stakeholders. So something should be done, not just produced, but something should be done, and it should lead to dialogue, to discussion about, are we doing what we're supposed to do, and does it still make sense? And if not, what should we change? And that's, of course, the second question that you see there, the effectiveness of management. How can you manage an intervention? How can you participate in making decisions? How can you change anything if you don't know how it's going? So basically, having steering committees and things like that without proper monitoring outputs is very difficult, if not impossible. And then, of course, I've personally been, and I'm sure others have been as well, in situations where you're asked to evaluate a program, and then one of the first things you find out is that, there is not really a lot of monitoring that can be relied on, because maybe the reliability of the monitoring database is not complete, or some of the reports are old, or they have not been checked, or so then it's often a pity if an evaluator has to first redo or do the work of monitoring, and then only get to the in-depth analysis, which would then have to lead to recommendations at a more strategic level. So it has an important role in facilitating dialogue, facilitating decision-making, corrective action, and also evaluation. And then, of course, there are some higher goals that not only monitoring contribute to, but also evaluation, for instance. And those are written at the bottom. It facilitates learning. If you do proper monitoring in a systemized way, and you do it, let's say, with frequency, and do it for a little bit longer time, you can see trends, and you can see the change happen. And then, of course, there's the accountability aspect, those funding and in the end paying for the interventions, the taxpayers. They have a right to know, what happens with these funds. And of course, communication. How can you inform the general public if there is no reliable monitoring information? And how can you fill websites or social media if you don't have the stories? Because monitoring is not just data; it's also stories. So how can you do that if the monitoring system is not working well?